Retro anime. How did we find it? How does it hold up? Unpacking the ins and outs of being an old school nerd and proving that 80s kids can't remember a damn thing right. These are the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd.
Welcome to Mindless Midlife Musings of the Anime Nerd. I'm Rick, and I'm joined by the rest of our panel, Brian, Lynette, and Vic. How's it going, everyone?
What up?
Hello.
All right, in this episode, we fall into the world of post-apocalyptic cyborgs as we talk Battle Angel Alita. Battle Angel, known in Japan as Hyperfuture Vision Gunma, or Gunmu, is a 1993 OVA based on the Battle Angel Alita manga series by Yukito Kishiro. It is directed by Hiroshi Fukutomi and jointly produced by KSS, Movic, Animate, and of course, Madhouse. The OVA comprises 2 episodes, corresponding respectively to volumes 1 and 2 of the manga, with some differences and serving as sort of a compressed preview for the manga. According to...
Sir, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sir, I know I'll wait a little bit later to interrupt, but I got a question for you. Can you say the whole thing about who made it one more time? Because
Sure.
you put a certain inflection on it, and I think it needs to be... Go ahead, please.
Do you mean the creator manga series by Yukito Kishiro? And it is directed by Hiroshi Fukutomi and jointly produced by KSS, Movic, Animate, and of course Madhouse.
No, it's the Madhouse part that got me when you first said it, because you said it with like you were mad at the house, and I was
never
like,
You always gotta emphasize Madhouse.
So the reason you emphasize Madhouse is because we've covered so much Madhouse anime in this show that at this point I'm surprised if it's not Madhouse.
So what you're saying is, if they were to do a Google search of the most said phrases that we said, number 1 would be Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, and then number 2 would be Madhouse.
That's probably accurate because we've talked about Madhouse has done quite a few of anime that we've covered, and this is of course. And honestly, looking at this anime, you can tell. Like the second I started watching, it, oh, this is Madhouse. Like I could just tell. They have a definite style to their work. So it was pretty apparent. Anyway, according to circle back to my intro, according to Kishida, only 2 episodes were originally planned, since at the time he was too busy with the manga, wasn't really serious about having an anime adaptation. Joke's on him, because he should have had more anime.
I imagine we're going to get back to that, but it does feel like this is unfinished.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a lot missing.
Yeah, so I mean, this is only the first 2 volumes of the manga. So the basic plot, for those of you who may not know, Alita is Hyper Future Vision Gunmu, and this is one of those anime that when it came out, they saw fit to change a lot of names. So things get a little confusing depending on who you're talking to, depending on which version they've seen. So we will be probably using Alita more than anything else because that's the version that's most prominent here in the United States. But some of you will know it as Galley, as Battle Angel Ganmu, as Hyper Future Vision Ganmu. It's got a million different names, and some of the characters' names have been changed as well. So whatever version we're talking about, we're probably going to be talking about the U.S. names. Just heads up. But the basic plot is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. In the distant future, young cyborg is found on a scrap heap by a cyborg doctor who rebuilds her and kind of becomes her surrogate daddy. And it's like an explorative story of a young girl figuring out who she is and so on and so forth. Kind of amnesia story. The anime is very short, and I think it was 80 Vision was the version that we saw originally when this dropped. And it had to be, I didn't realize that this was 1993 when this came out. I thought for sure it predated that, which means by the time we saw it, it must have been 94, probably.
Yeah, 94, 95.
Yeah. So I was surprised how much later in my developmental years that this came out, because to me, I felt like I'd seen it earlier and that it had influenced me more. But as a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. I'd seen so much other anime. By the time I got to this, I'd seen a ton. I guess that speaks to what it is, like quality wise, that it felt more important to me, like more formative. I don't know. I don't even remember when I picked it up. I don't even think I did pick it up. I think it was one of y'all picked it up, and I ended up watching one of your copies. Um, Lynette, had you ever seen anything Alita prior to this? I had to check because I know we do this to you a lot, so I wanted to make sure.
That is so funny.
This is like the best thing ever. I get to watch all new animes. It's awesome. Sometimes they're misses, but most of the time they're hits. So it's great.
So this one's I loved this when I first saw it. It was beautiful, and the very story was intriguing. Cybernetics and sort of cyberpunk, but sort of just more post-apocalyptic. And this was just the run of the mill. This was sort of par for the course for anime at that time, right? We'd been seeing things like
lots of cyberpunkish apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah, lots of that coming out. But this one was very interesting. I liked how it begins with her as garbage.
Literally.
Right, she's literally garbage, and then she's like has to figure out who she is from learning that. Oh, well, I found you in a garbage dump. So I imagine that's probably more meaningful to some than to me. I just thought it was an interesting way to start with your hero.
Well, honestly speaking, that's actually par for the course for you, because the reason why I say this is because I'm gonna say it and you can be like, oh yeah, one of your favorite Disney movies is Aladdin.
Through that.
So basically, we're talking about the whole diamond in the rough.
Ah, yeah. That was just for you. No, absolutely. Yeah, I love a good underdog story. I even root for underdog movies. Like it's something I enjoy about, I don't know, watching them triumph or watching something that people just say it's gonna suck and it's really good. This isn't one of those things. This is actually, it's a very good story. But like you said earlier, Brian, you kind of hinted to it. It's very unfinished. And that's unfortunate because, as we established, they didn't ever want to make any more. So my thought is, if you're only going to make 2, finish the story. Like, give it an ending. I mean, don't be George R.R. Martin about it. Like if you're gonna write a story, it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep writing the novel some day, but for this, like, give it an ending. I don't know. And he was involved. Like, he should have given it. So the ending sucks. That's all I'm saying. But that's common for a lot of anime in that time period. The endings suck. Fist of the North Star, the ending sucked. Vampire Hunter D, the ending sucked. This is just more that kind of, this is just not really an ending. Very open-ended. I think that's because it's a manga. And that happened a lot with a lot of anime. They started out with a manga. Oh, we're gonna make this manga into an anime, and then they do it, and then they catch up to the manga, and then they either have to stop or
the infamous filler episodes.
The filler episodes.
And no one wants 50+ episodes of filler.
Seriously.
In a row.
That is such a testament of how far we've come. Like, we only got 2 episodes of Battle Angel. Meanwhile, One Piece holds the record for the most episodes ever.
No, it doesn't actually. Oh, not wait. Is it the most episodes? No, I think someone else actually has that.
I don't even know, man. I haven't seen it. So that's and now it's come too far. It's one of those things where it's like, I can't watch it now. This is just too much of it. I'll never finish. I'll never catch up.
Look, I feel the same way about Bleach. Oh my God, Lynette almost killed me. Oh my God, Lynette almost killed me.
So let's talk a little bit about the characters in this. A lot of it is pretty stereotypical, basic character stuff. Dr. Ito is very much a father figure, and So I have a problem. I have to back up. Sorry. I have a problem in that I've seen the live action movie by Robert Rodriguez, which does an incredibly good job of fleshing out these characters,
Oh my gosh.
where the anime just doesn't touch it. And the anime is like going through these beats so much faster than in the movie, and the movie takes time to earn these moments. So it was a little hard to revisit this because I expected more now. Visually, a feast for the eyes. Character design is so nice.
It's very, very rare that when you're watching a movie, as opposed to, like, we can talk about how many other translations that have happened and occurred that's gone from OVA into live action. This was one of the first ones that I felt like they went in on this one.
They did their homework.
Yeah.
No, they did it for
much to the detriment of this anime. So it's problematic because, again, mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd. We're coming at this so many years later, and now it has kind of been surpassed. If we had covered this anime in 2012,
that's it. That's the word.
We would be talking. It was surpassed. We'd be talking about something different. But now the live action movie exists, and God help me, I'm saying it. The live action movie is far superior to this product.
Superior.
And I can honestly
what happens when you get twice the running time?
Yo,
this may be the only time I ever say this. So Ito, I liked Ito. I liked the way he was, he was that everyman, yet he's a fucking like cyborg doctor genius motherfucker. And he's kind-hearted, and he takes care of the people in what are we gonna call it? Iron City? Scrap Town? It's got 4 different names. Let's go with Iron City. He takes care of all the citizens of Iron City, doesn't care if he's getting paid, because he's secretly out killing mother, but mostly because he's just trying to be a good person. And I love all that. And he's very protective of Alita, very fatherly to her. And I appreciate that. I appreciated it way more in the movie when they gave it more meaning. She's a surrogate to him. And I was like, God damn, that's a good touch. But I still felt it in the anime.
I think that the word recently I have started equating a lot of character tropes to things that I've seen like in Marvel, because that is something that has always stayed with me, right? Ito has what I'm coming to dub as he has a lot of red in his ledger.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I like it. Yep, sure. I have used
Lots
the
and lots of red.
thing. He does. It does seem like he's making amends for his life in Zalem, and he feels like he has a lot.
But you don't realize that. And I imagine if we had to do a comparison between the manga and the OVA, I mean the series, and then we had to do a comparison between the manga and the film that came out, we're going to see that there's more similarities between the manga and the film, and we'll see that he's lost his daughter and he's trying to make up for not being able to save her.
Dude, I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't know if that's in the manga, but if it's not, hell, that's a fantastic spin on that character. It's definitely not in the anime. For that matter, Chirin's not in the manga either. They created that character for the anime. So his relationship,
that's bonkers,
right?
Mm-hmm.
His relationship with Chirin adds a lot to the anime, and she didn't exist in the manga at all. And then to take that character that was created for the anime and then incorporate her into a manga-based storyline-ish that they did for the movie, elevated her character even more. Like, they really took somebody that just didn't exist in this lore and just made her mean something. It was pretty impressive.
Like the whole Harley Quinn thing just before Harley Quinn.
There you go. True story. But yeah, she wasn't in the manga. It's in fact it's interesting. Like if you I usually try to do a little bit of research for an anime before we talk about it. So I'll go in and I'll read the wiki page. I'll dig through the IMDb. I'll look for interesting tips, things that I can find out. The wiki page for this OVA, over half of it is just telling you differences between the manga and the anime. That's a lot. But what's interesting about that is in reading these differences, find out that the live action film has more in common with the manga than the anime does.
Did just say that. I did just say that.
You did just say that.
Yes.
So it's
Maybe
like
not as eloquently as my new caster friend here.
I just find it very interesting that they were able to take. I'm trying really hard not to make this episode about the movie, but I'm gonna talk about the movie a lot because to me, watching the movie made me put me in a place to better appreciate the anime.
And the overall story.
Yeah, because I had like more story to it. Like I could mentally attribute things from the movie into this anime, like because they did a really good job taking the visual styling and some of the things that they changed from the manga to the anime and then incorporating those back into the live action movie. This is a very intricately woven web.
It's actually the best. I would honestly say it's probably the best live action adaptation I've ever seen.
I will not argue with that. As far as anime to film adaptations, it's my top of the line.
And I'm not even just talking about from an anime perspective. I'm even incorporating Marvel. I'm even incorporating DC. I mean, they put in some work on this one. For just the 2 hours that they used, they put in some work on this on the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely feel. So it's a known fact that James Cameron was in love with the Alita story. He was a huge fan of the anime, fell in love with it. Guillermo del Toro introduced him to the anime, said he would love it. He did. And he became obsessed with the manga. Then he wanted to make a movie or a series or something with this character he was in love with. And he never got around to it because blue space aliens and doing their dances with wolves bit. So he had no choice but to hand the project off lest it just never be made. So he got Robert Rodriguez in to do the movie version. The reason I bring this up is because you can tell how much they loved Alita in how much intricate care they put into making the film version of it. And every, I'll say this, every beat in this anime, every beat that matters, every moment that is just jaw-droppingly cool is in the movie. And sometimes done better. Most times done better.
I agree. It's a masterclass of what happens when you respect the source material.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of other movies tend to go out of their way to just try to make their interpretation of it, their version of it. And God, does it fail sometimes.
It really does. I love that Shido was involved in the making of all of these. That's great. He was involved heavily with the anime. He was involved heavily with the movie. That is great when you can get the creator to be a part of the project, passionately part of the project. That's just great news. That's awesome. And it proves the point that if you respect the source material, the end product can be great. Because the thing you fell in love with is still there. It doesn't have to change.
So we just did Ghost in the Shell, and we talked about how thought provoking that made us, right? This, if anything, it felt like it solidified a lot of those questions that we had.
Yeah.
I remember watching iRobot, and apparently that's from Isaac Asimov,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I realized that iRobot was one of the first mediums outside of anime because I don't know if they're pulling from Isaac because Isaac is from the 60s, from the 50s to 60s, right? So it was asking us the big questions. Yes, we're talking about enhancements. Are those enhancements really what we want? In iRobot, we're saying, yeah, do you really want to have robot slaves? Well, what happens when they decide to uprise against you? Same thing with the Matrix. I have never felt
It's like, have we not seen Exo Squad?
right. It feels like I have never been further away from not wanting to have cybernetic legs in my life.
So this movie, this anime, it's like the dark alley of, like, if Cyberpunk's already dark.
Mother! Did you just come up with that? Or were you sitting on that?
Just right off the cuff.
Mother!
That's what this is, right? This whole anime is the back alley street deals of cybernetics. It's dark. It's twisted in the mindset. Hugo, he's literally jacking people's parts to make a living.
Not in the way that just sounded.
Yeah. Get your head out of the hentai episode and join us here. He's literally carving metal parts out of people and scrapping them, and it's how he's making he's making a living, is he's trying to save up his money to live his dream and go. Which, by the way, just to switch gears for a sec, that kid was obsessed with Zalem to an alarming degree. He needed a different hobby.
I would like to also say that it was the difference between the between the series and the movie. They captured his innocence, if you will,
right?
The dichotomy of the two sides of him. I'm a sweet face baby face who cuts people up.
Yeah, it's like, I may be cute and adorable, but I'm still taking your spine.
Guys. He didn't kill anybody, all right? He just took their limbs, their spine, and the metal part.
You don't need a spine.
It's just, man. So there's a little bit of, dare I say, there's a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet thing kind of going on with Alita and Hugo, in the sense of Alita falls for Hugo really fast. Not just
like 20 minutes flat.
Not just in the movie. The movie's a little more earned, obviously, because they have more time to build that romance up. But in the anime, goddamn, she is in love with him from moment one. And I'm like, sweetie, there are other guys in Iron City, I assure you. The first one that dropped down the ladder is not Romeo.
We could possibly try to figure out why they decided to go that route.
It was just alarming to me. Look, I get that a lot of this parallels, and I may be speaking out of turn, so correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of this seems to parallel the emotions of a young girl, like a budding young girl. Like you fall in love quickly, you think you're in love deeply. You're also trying to figure out your own identity and who you are, and yet break away from your caring but maybe a little overprotective father. And there's a lot of that sort of young girl teenage angst thing going on, even though she's roughly 300-400 years old.
Between that and her adopted father runs around with a freaking rocket hammer.
Pretty baller. Come on.
Who happens to be right though? Something about father instincts.
Yeah, let's give Ito credit. Every aspect of this film is this anime is designed very well, and you can tell that they brought in. They focused a lot on the qualities of the manga. Ito's rocket hammer thing is baller. It's just cool. And what a thoughtful weapon for a hunter to have. So I like that in the anime they don't really talk about it, but in the movie they bring it up that the guns are outlawed in Iron City. So it immediately addresses why nobody just shoots anybody, which I appreciated. Would have been great if I'd have found that out 20 years sooner when I watched the anime. 30 years soon. Anyway.
Yeah, valid point considering, everyone's ripping each other apart with, blades or robotic hands or, anything mechanical possible, but no one's shooting anything.
Right, no projectiles.
Even a laser.
You can have chain blade fingers, but you can't have, although to be fair, those weren't exactly regulation either. But it's all kind of samurai, right? Swords and bladed weapons and things like that, and less guns and pew pew stuff.
Pew pew.
Pew pew.
no lasers, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool because it kept it a little more. You're dealing with cyborgs, so to take that element out of it, like you think about like a lot of cyborg, like Bubblegum Crisis and things like that. Everybody's got guns, everybody's got rockets, and Boomer's got goddamn, you know, rocket jetpacks, and they can, you know,
Orbital
fly.
cannon?
Cannon.
Orbital beam cannons, you know, none of that exists here. So I kind of appreciated it because while that's sort of the post-apocalyptic part of it, like everything's sort of stuck down on the
It's like
ground.
high tech, low tech at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing that I appreciated about it was how very clearly they drew the caste system. They're the elites, the 1%ers up in their high tower, their floating city. And then there's everybody else. Anybody with even the remote level of imperfection or illness or defect or any of that, and you're down here in the
You're evicted.
Yeah.
No second chances too. That's it.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, once you're down on the planet, there's no coming back.
So I just
Lie. The lie for we're going to send you back up.
yeah.
It wasn't a lie.
But yeah,
It was a
technically he didn't
technicality.
lie.
It has a little
Technically
asterisk.
he didn't lie.
We'll send you back.
That's why you always have to you have to get clarifications. Like, how am I going back? Am I going back in pieces?
Didn't read the terms and conditions.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Always read the paperwork.
Get the fine print, people.
we learned from Ghost in the Shell, read the terms and conditions.
But look, not only did they, you want to talk about stuff. Not only did they kill them, you paid money to get killed.
You paid money to be harvested as spare parts for someone.
Paid a lot of money. Like I don't know much about how the credit system works in this world, but
Yeah, don't know the conversion rate, but yeah.
it seemed like Hugo been doing it for a while.
People got
Since he was like 10, right? Because I do admit that's a subplot that I wish they would have fleshed out in the movie. Was how Hugo's brother had been killed, and you know that's sort of his motivation. That would have been nice, rather than just the dream of being a 1%er. Like it was driven by his brother, and I think that was a nice touch in the anime. That would have been interesting to see fleshed out.
Even if you think about just what they were saying, they're basically, we talk about cost of living, right? And as midlife musings, we understand how important the cost of living increase is, right?
Yeah.
This man had over 500,000 or million credits.
Like it was like there was the word million in there. He had like 1.5 million credits or something like that. It was like a lot of money.
And even then, that was barely enough to get him harvested. How much?
Yeah, he was short by almost $500,000.
Right, yeah.
That was only enough to get him harvested.
Yeah, exactly. Only enough for that. So yeah, it's a pretty rough world down there in Iron City.
I feel so many parallels to that. Chasing the dollar.
Sure.
Thinking that you're going for the better life, only to find out that, yeah,
your spare parts.
Just another piece of the machine. I love that we did this one after Ghost in the Shell. Because, like you said, Brian, it sort of answers some of those questions that might be, residual after seeing that. But Alita is major sense of all that's left is really just some brain.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is manufactured, and she's an elite killing machine, same as the Major. But she owns her humanity. Like Alita is, I won't say alarmingly human, but she's, I don't know, like overwhelmingly embracing the humanity in her, and it's not a lot there, right, physically. So it's kind of a flip on the whole idea of Ghost in the Shell, where, are you human? It's like, you know what, you're human. You're as human as you want to be. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be physically human to be humane. And she shows that.
Yeah. All right. How this is not musings right now. This is just knowledge.
You're dropping knowledge bombs right now.
You don't have to be human to be humane. As I look at my cat, as we look at Loki.
It's just, I don't know. There's something so endearing about her innocence, right? Yet underneath all that is somebody who's willing to fight and die. Literally, thank you, movie. Give your heart. Cease to exist to help someone you love's dreams come true. That's so.
And he pisses it all away.
Throws it away.
Like, oh, thanks.
Like when somebody gives you like bottled water and you're like, this is an Avion.
Yeah. Hugo's an idiot. What are you gonna do?
Is it Hugo or Hugo?
It depends on what you're watching, right? So in the anime we watched, it was Hugo, and in the film, it was Hugo, and in the I think in the manga, it's Hugo.
It was Bob.
Yeah, in the manga, it was Bob. No, it is Hugo.
Yeah, the Viz translation had it as Hugo, I think, as well.
Right, the Viz
But
translation.
the door that she was waiting for him by,
right,
said Hugo.
Yeah, his dwelling, best I can call it. Yeah, it had a sign that said Hugo.
N305.
Represent. So.
Gang.
So yeah, Hugo. Hugo is I'm going with Hugo just because why not? He was a pretty damaged dude, and Alita deserved better. That's all I'm saying. One thing I never figured out, and I found no information about this whatsoever, is why Alita. And in the anime or in the manga, she's called Gali, and in the Japanese anime, the OVA, she's called Gali. For some reason, she's Alita in the US. And I never figured out why. I couldn't find any notes about it. Couldn't find any tips or anything. So if anybody listening to the episode knows the answer to that, please let me know, because I really do want to know why Alita.
We're accepting information from both long-time listeners and short-time listeners on that one.
Yes, anyone, please give me the
I
answer.
want an answer.
Hey, Alita Army, I know you guys are probably going to check this out. Let me know why it's Alita, because I don't know. I do like that in the live action film, Hugo calls her Allie, like short for Alita, and it's kind of sounds like Gally.
Like a decent in between.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Gally, and I'm like, all right, cool, I accept. This works for me. But yeah, I was never able to figure out why name change was necessary. I guess just more of that localization bullshit that seems to happen.
Yeah, name changes were quite the disastrous major thing back then.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, Rick Hunter?
But that's a lot of salty on that. That's a lot of salt. A lot of salt.
What can I say? A little salty. One of the things that was kind of interesting is sort of the evolution of the villains in this. We had, how did they say his name in the anime? It was
you're talking about Guru.
Yeah, that guy, right? Who I call Gruishka because of the film.
We'll stick with that.
Let's go with it. It's kind of cool because I guess the character is sort of an amalgamation of other characters from the manga, and then the movie's like an amalgamation of characters from the anime. So really, like, the characters she fights in live action film are like 5 different characters rolled into one, which was kind of an interesting thing.
Well, probably let them blend out the rest of the story a bit more.
I every decision that was made in the evolution of this product, from a manga to an anime to a live action film, every decision they made sense to me. There's never a point like, why did you bother to do that? With the exception of the name change. Still don't know why. But the character, the blending of characters to tell a tighter narrative, it all makes sense to me. It's not unheard of. It made a lot of sense. So why are you going to introduce a character who's zero purpose other than dying in one scene? But loved that character, that Gruishka sort of just, he's a great villain. And a heel. I don't want to say a villain, but he was a heel. He was a great pawn.
They do a great job, and that's the one thing they really didn't connect in the movie, is that he's doing this as a serial killer.
Yeah, he's in the head serial killer. Yeah, in the movie, they sort of tie it all into the factory. Like everything they're doing is in service of Vector, which is in service of Nova. It's like this whole conspiracy kind of thing. But
Did
yeah,
you didn't even hear about Nova in the series?
No, yeah, the OVA Nova's just not it. Thank God, because they clearly weren't going to touch on that thread in the 2 episodes they had. So I'm glad, because if they would have tried to shoehorn in this big bad, that would have just
I
colossal
think
waste
between
of it.
Nova and then finding out that she's how bad she really is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! When they find the ship in the I missed that. Yeah.
I get why they put her in the Berserker armor in the anime right away. Berserker body, it makes perfect sense. They ain't got time to tell that story. It was only an hour between the 2 episodes. There's no time for that. She has a first body, gets a Berserker body thing. They just put her right in the Berserker body. Totally get it. It works stylistically. It's really cool. She's got those baller like knee-high boots with the metal buckles around, and she's got that trench coat. She looks awesome. Excellent character design. She's instantly recognizable, and I appreciate that. She's just a great character, and it contrasts so well with who she's fighting. But that's sort of the martial arts of it all, right? Like your size matters not, right? She's this tiny little girl, and she's battling this mountainous cybernetic beast, and then she's battling in the anime. She's battling. I want to call him Thunder from Big Trouble in Little China, because he's got that big flat head.
His name is Ajax. Is his name Ajax?
No,
Deadpool guy?
the guy that killed Hugo's brother and Hugo in the anime. His name starts with a Z.
Him.
I'm gonna find him. Hold up.
1 second. Z.
One who had like the
Ariki, is that-
Renegon.
No, his name is not Ajax. He's the guy
No.
that played Ajax in Deadpool. My bad.
Deadpool.
Oh,
Ryan.
Ed Screen. All right, so you mean Francis?
My bad.
But yeah, in the live action film, Ed Screen, Skrine, I don't know. Ed fans can be mad at me. He plays Zapan, right? And Zapan in the movie has a very fleshed out role. He's very much a foil for Alita. Anime is a tiny little part. Only purpose in the anime is exposing Hugo as a parts hoarder, thief, scrapper. That's it. That's all he does. They don't even call him by name. He just, you could tell by looking at the character that that's who he is. And then, but yeah, in the movie, it's of course much more fleshed out. They had an extra hour or so to play with. No, he's great. He's great. I love that character. He's so, there's so much to the vanity of him and the arrogance of him.
You're hitting out the park.
He's so good. He's a great character. I love to hate him. but yeah, in the anime, he's not used at all. No, I'm talking about, like I said, the guy with the big flat, like wanting to be a samurai looking motherfucker.
He was like, what happens if you badly cosplay Vampire Hunter D?
Oh, that's so good.
What happens when you have a limited budget and you want to play Vampire Hunter D?
Oh, that's
That was
great.
his character. Yeah.
Does have that vibe about him. Madhouse. Look what you did, Madhouse. Zariki. Yeah, his name is Zariki. So his character design is great, but it's so out of place with the rest of these characters. These characters are very, I don't want to say organic. They're not organic. They're the opposite. They're very clunky, right? Like Grishka is this, like, it looks like parts are just bolted onto him. Like he's just like somebody took apart a car and strapped it to a human. Like that's what's that?
A caricature.
Yeah, but I mean, like like it's thoughtful. Like he looks like intentionally complex, and then you get this Zariki guy who is in a green unitard with like the hat, and he's got the Darth Maul thing going on before Darth Maul did it. So it was sort of just kind of out of place. It was very Madhouse. That's all. I mean, maybe that's how he looked in the manga, but he felt out of place to me. Yeah, man. So
how many cosplayers are going to be at your door now talking about, hey, buddy, this worked?
Yeah. Oh, right. No, I know. It's all right. I welcome the judgment.
You can find Rick in Las Vegas.
Yep. Look for me in Las Vegas, shiny, beautiful Sin City.
In the dark alleys. You can find Rick in the dark alleys.
The dark, seedy underbelly of Zalem. Yeah, this film. Speaking of the dark, seedy underbellies, I love how on the nose it is with the caste system and how it is with like the societal, the disproportionate wealth distribution, and how on the nose that is for something that came out when it did. It's pretty scary how accurate that has gotten. Like even more so. I mean, let's just go ahead and say it. Nova is probably Elon Musk.
You know, I did recently make the decision I'm not going to buy a Tesla. How about that?
Just point it out. Kind of on the nose.
Like, can't argue against that thought.
Do you think he's more Jeff Bezos, though?
No, man. No, Nova is definitely Musk. If anybody's Bezos, it's Vector.
Hey, we'll buy you a plane ticket to Zalem.
I'm gonna ship you these bits.
I
three body parts.
I'm sorry. I would have to say that I think it's reversed.
You do? I don't know.
I think Elon is Vector.
Nah, Vector's over here prime shipping all these body parts monthly.
He gets a good deal.
Yeah, he makes money, and he makes money, getting the parts, and he makes money selling the parts.
I mean,
how is that not Bezos?
I mean, if you think about it, you pay what, $100, $200 a year just to get free 2-day shipping. You're paying him to give you your stuff.
You're paying Vector to get your parts that you need.
I really just want to say for the record, I do love my Amazon Prime. Let's not increase our rates.
We've all been assimilated. Amazon Prime is like the Borg.
I just want to ask though, how is making Jeff Bezos Nova a better argument? How's it going to help your Amazon rates?
Well, I just don't want to die right now.
Make sure you keep on paying the Amazon fee.
Yeah, just pay the fee. You're fine.
They're all long-time listeners,
So let's let's take a minute and just do what we want to do here, which is let's honestly compare the live action adaptation of this to say the live action adaptation of other anime, like we just recently spoken about Ghost in the Shell, or I don't know what's another one.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. Oh, good lord.
Or Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah. There you go. Like let's just call it what it is. We said it earlier. This is absolutely probably the best adaptation you'll ever see.
Rurouni Kenshin, the live action for that one was kind of close.
It was pretty damn
enjoyable.
Good. As far as accuracy goes, that one was pretty tight.
Yeah. Characters are immediately recognizable.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is actually pretty good too.
Hey, you are not going to hear me argue that point. I enjoyed it. Beboppers out there are going to hunt me down and shoot me. That's fine. I thought the live action series was excellent. I wish they would have got more.
I've not had a chance to read it yet, but I've got a huge backlog of everything.
I thought that they had some great character choices for Cowboy Bebop. So when we talk about Bebop in that episode, I'll definitely come back to that part.
Oh, we'll definitely circle back, and I know there's going to be a few of these where we talk about an anime that has now had a live action adaptation, because we're in that world now where the stuff we watched is now considered in vogue, and we can make live action adaptations of things, which is kind of wild to think about. You think about
even 15 years ago, that was like, yeah.
Think about sitting down with a studio and trying to pitch Alita in 1995.
Oh God!
This just wouldn't happen.
And if it did, it would have been horrible.
Ito would have been played by David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, Yeah, it would have been rough. They would have done something like Sharon Stone would have been Alita. So like it just would have been just all kinds of wrong.
You know what? I think they probably would have got one other writer for Alita.
Yeah, but then Corey Feldman for Hugo.
You remember when we used to play who is going to be which X-Men?
Who would you cast? Yeah, everybody does fan casting. Yeah, I remember
Everyone does that.
Yeah.
Fan casting's still huge, man. People still get into it. I mean, hell, fan casting is how we got John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange. That was the fans hell that's what they wanted.
That movie.
We're not going to get into it, Brian. This isn't.
Yes, we're not talking about Evil Dead 4 right now.
This isn't mindless midlife musings of the comic book nerd.
Oh, that's the other show. That's our other show. My bad.
That's the other show. Yeah. So let's we'll go ahead and
look forward.
Let's go ahead and we're gonna try and wrap this up a little bit here. It's been very difficult to talk about this film in isolation in an echo chamber because of the existence of the live action film. I've never read the manga. To be clear, I know enough about the manga based on cursory like page flipping upon seeing it. So that's about as far as I get with it. But I do know from reading how much heart and soul they put into the live action movie to try and get it as close to the manga as they could while still retaining the beats of the anime.
I also like to point out that the actors that they chose to play in the live action, they also did their homework. Christoph Waltz was ridiculous as Ito.
Christoph Waltz is ridiculous in everything.
Actually, no. I didn't like him as Spectre.
I did. He's great.
I had hopes for Spectre, but that let me down. But you know what? That's midlife musings of the Bond nerd. So
that's the other. That's the other podcast.
The other podcast.
All right, so I'll go ahead and start off these final thoughts as best I can. I feel like it's been pretty clear though. Alita or Battle Angel Alita or Hyper Future Vision Ganmu is an excellent anime. It's a very short anime. It is not going to take a lot of your time. It's an hour complete thing, top to bottom. So
even less if you skip the credits.
Yeah, so you're not going to spend a lot of time with this. It's a really quick watch. It's gorgeous. Truly, Madhouse knocks it out of the park, and every other studio involved, of course. Is it worth your time? No, not really. Yeah, sorry to say. It's beautiful. It's very nice. It's an excellent anime, but it's not worth your time. If you're going to commit an hour to this anime, just give yourself the other hour plus and watch the live action movie. You're going to get more out of it. You're going to get more heart. You're going to get more story. You're going to get more drama. You're going to get more action. Dudes, I didn't even touch on the motorball.
Yo, how did you miss that? Oh, because it wasn't in the anime.
Yeah. Motorball is awesome. And the fact that it's not in the anime is a goddamn crime. So yeah, I loved the anime. I loved the anime when I was young. I loved the music. It had this like really great sort of orchestral score that was very intense. That boom, 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 boom. And I'm just like, damn, it's getting real. And I loved all of that. But it doesn't matter anymore because now I've got the live action movie, which excels at taking all of those beautiful beats from the anime and just pushing them a little bit further. So my final thoughts are Alita's wonderful. Battle Angel is an excellent anime that you never have to watch. So I'm gonna hand it over. Let's just go across the board. Vic, what are your final thoughts on Battle Angel Alita?
So I kind of agree and slightly disagree with you. I agree it's wonderful, it's beautiful, and I think it serves as a great companion piece to the movie. So I agree. If you enjoyed the anime, watch the movie. If you watched the movie and you enjoyed it, watch the anime. It's like you can see what was picked up, what wasn't, what needed to be fleshed out, but you see, the transition from manga to anime to movie done right. And Oh, that poor dog.
Oh yeah, we didn't even touch on that. Hey, this is one movie where they killed a dog,
Oh, the
and
poor
that's.
dog.
I appreciate that the anime didn't shy away from it either. They're just like, I'm gonna show this dog get samurai sliced. In the movie, they're like, we're not showing the dog die. We're just not gonna do that. It's our
Oh, that's
line
like
in the
the entire
stand.
internet hate the movie. And let's be honest, the internet did have an issue with the movie when it first, was being shown off and everything because of her eyes. And
Right.
they
did.
and it's like within like 2 minutes of the movie starting, it doesn't bother you anymore.
It doesn't
You
matter.
you fall into the movie, you fall, and everything just works out.
It really doesn't matter. Not to
So
me.
yeah, it's like a win-win. It's like if you watch one, watch the other one, you're not losing anything at all. You watch the other one, watch the first one. You're still not losing anything. So just watch both. Watch both, enjoy it. You'll be happy in the long run.
I respect that.
Be better.
Lynette, you want to take us into your final thoughts?
Yeah. I would say I agree to watch them both. I would treat the anime more like a teaser trailer. Right? So if you're like, you want to watch something cool, then you play the 2 episodes, Alita, and then you go, there's a movie, and then boom, you got them hooked. Right? So that's how I felt. Like I enjoyed the 2 episodes, but it felt like it was on fast forward. Little, it was like found her, built her, fell in love, she's gonna fight, she's gonna do battle, the boy gets chopped up. What happened in the middle? What happened in the middle? So that's why I said like the 2 episodes. I feel like they're the teaser trailer, the movie. It's like this is what could be. Someone could dedicate the time, the money, and the technology to create this wonder, and then someone just goes, hold my beer, and boom, there you go. You got Alita.
I guess that's a pretty accurate description from you two, because I think it did that in the intro. Is that the anime was intended as a preview to the manga, so it was intended to get you hooked on the books. So good on them, because it worked. Brian, what do you got to say about Angel Alita?
I'm going to take a different.
Yes, no, you're not allowed to say anything negative. Okay, go.
I think that there's a certain people that need to watch both. If you are one of those people that say they never make the movie better than the book or than the cartoon, this is the one that you need to watch both so you can say, oh, well, they did. If you happen to have been in the 90s and you decided that you wanted to adapt one of our prize Street Fighter or turn it into a live action movie and you fucked it up, like the motherfuckers that did Super Mario Brothers, they really need to watch this movie. This is a lesson how you're supposed to do this. Double Dragon. There's another one that need to watch this one. So Punisher. And you should have watched this. If you're wondering how you should have done it and how you should have acted, this is how it should have been done. You up. Not only did you up, you it up for. It took us 30 years to get it right. You burn in hell. You burn in hell because we should not have to wait 30 years to have an honest translation from source material to movie. We shouldn't. It's easy.
Brian, I got one thing for you, Brian.
That's right. Slow clap. So you're saying, if I may paraphrase, is that the people that should be watching all of this content are the people that fucked up every childhood memory we have.
You did use the word in that, so yes. Wonderful paraphrasing. Done.
I think we should also include anybody who's considering doing something like this in the future too, right? So
right.
You want to know how to do it right, watch Alita.
And I would even go so far to say that this is something that also has to go through partnerships. You know, you mentioned James Cameron partnered with Robert Rodriguez, and it does take an initial amount of love. Like anything that's going on, I detested Rian Johnson and his butchering of the Star Wars universe, butchering of it, because he wanted to prove that I think I know better. Nah, this got popular because of blood, sweat, and tears and the money that we were, instead of saving so we can go to Zalem, we spent on this year just for you to come back and say, you know what, I think I you, the horse you rode on, and I hope that a hunter killer comes for you, and not chops off your arm, chops off your manhood.
I think Brian's a little bitter of most of our translations throughout the decades.
Very passionate.
I feel you. I feel you on this.
This is the way it's supposed to be done. And if we have so more opportunities like this done, we would have better understandings of what it meant to be an anime nerd. Now it just makes it seem like, well, anybody could have done it. No, it takes a special person. And
it's amazing what you get when you respect the material.
It's amazing what you get when you respect the material. Cheers.
True story. I do want to take this moment to shout out to the Alita Army, the internet movement that rallied behind the film to help it succeed. And it did succeed, ultimately. Enough that there's hope that we'll get a second one, because I would really love to see more of it. So shout out to the hashtag Alita Army.
That could be brought back and fleshed out the rest of the way. There's not a lot of it currently done. You guys could complete what was done.
Let's do it. I'm down to see more of this. I guess that's gonna do it for our show. So until next time, keep calm, and to quote the film version, do not stand in the presence of evil.
Was that your first try? Nah, give me another one.
That's all you're getting out of me, man. That's what I got.
You've just been privy to the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd, presented by Geek Grotto. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Geek Grotto. For show notes and corrections, or for general geeky fun, you can visit our website at geek-grotto.com. If you would like to sponsor the show, you can do so on the podcast's Red Circle host site, redcircle.com/shows/MMMAN. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please like, follow, and subscribe.